Morning coffee.
Morning coffee in the morning.
In the morning.
Yes, here we are. We're a little late today.
But we're doing it.
We were a little late because we had to talk about some stuff
That's right.
with Marissa, so she would have some stuff to do while we were morning coffeeing.
That's exactly right.
Because I give her stuff to do, and she does it about twice as fast as I expect.
Which is good news.
Which is good news and bad news, because I'm like, oh, God, I got to stay on top of this more.
But that is
Love it.
good that we are, I do love
Yeah,
moving
it's great.
forward really fast, which is
Yeah.
awesome.
So we are back in BioShock Infinite.
That's right.
Yeah, and if this is your first morning coffee, how many? Have we done like 10 of these now? 12 of these?
I think
At this point, shouldn't people know what morning
12,
coffee is?
15, I don't know. But
This is your first morning coffee. Here's the deal. We are GameWisp. We are a company that does things with games.
Indeed.
And gaming video.
Gaming video.
And so what morning coffee is it's Michael and mine and Michael's attempt to what is going on? To sit down and basically have our morning stand-up meeting while playing a game that we broadcast live on Twitch. We use Twitch, so if there's anybody out there that ever wants to see this, they can come talk to us, ask questions, figure out what we're doing. It's our way of updating each other on how we're going to spend our day, but also talking to anyone that wants to interact with us around
Right.
GameWisp and what we're doing. So it's about 15 or 20 minutes long. And the game we're currently playing, obviously, BioShock Infinite, which I think Michael's close to beating.
Yeah.
So here we are.
Morning coffeeing this morning. It's Friday.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
And the final morning coffee, it's usually every morning, Monday through Friday, 9 o'clock Central Standard Time. A little later than usual today because, like I said, we were working through some stuff with our contractor, Marissa.
Yep.
And we will be more on the ball probably next week, depending on what's going on.
It's been actually a tough week of development.
Oh my gosh, it's been such a tough week. Just in retrospect, can you give me less BioShock in my brain holes?
Yeah.
So it's been a really rigorous week because if you've been following along at home, we are just really on a crunch to bug fix and get stuff done and respond to some feedback we have from some internal testing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so we had one big problem.
Big old problem.
So this is what's happened this week. We've had one big problem and we've had two big features come into existence. And even though yesterday I mentioned on morning coffee that we were feature complete, which is true, we were. We added a new one.
Yeah.
Because through discussion it was determined that it was kind of a cool thing to try as an experiment. Nobody's really doing it. And it was very easy given our infrastructure for us to do. So we did.
Yeah, and it was very, I think it was, like you said, very quick, but also
but potentially powerful, right?
Exactly.
Worth experimenting with. And I love quick but powerful. So we decided to give it a go. And I was up to 2 or 3 a.m. last night, just knocking it out. Just because that's what we should do.
That's what you
do.
So
yeah, we. So first, let's talk about our big problem that we fixed, and then we'll talk about our two big features, one of which is chat, which you already know about if you watch this at home.
Yeah.
So our first, our big problem. So I have mentioned previously over the course of a couple of weeks now that a lot of our video infrastructure is hosted in Microsoft Azure.
Yeah.
And full disclosure, of the GameWisp platform, that's the only thing in Azure is that our video infrastructure. The infrastructure needed for also ingesting and delivering video. So we did that for a couple of reasons. One, when you join Techstars, you get access to a lot of startup benefits. And so we went through Techstars, we got some money from Microsoft, just we got money from a lot of platforms. And you do. You can look around online and find all the startup sort of free money things they do. And so we had a good bit of money, and we knew that the video architecture was a standalone thing, or it could be separate from our web interface architecture or our chat architecture, et cetera, et cetera. So it's let's put this in Azure because we got some free money, and it'll save us some money, and we'll have a lot of room to experiment without it costing us anything.
Yeah.
And so Azure has a media services platform, and that media services platform so the Bob Foster's in the chat yelling Carbine at you. I think, so maybe you made a bad decision.
I love that, dude. Bob Foster, Carbine is best. Watch.
Carbine is best. Yeah, so Michael is a master of iron sights, I think, much more so than me. But anyway, to get back on track here. So Azure has a lot of built-in media services stuff to automatically package and code and deliver video for you. It's this is awesome. Sure, it costs more money. But we'll give this a shot because it's here, it exists, and we can integrate it quickly. And we made the same big mistake we always make, which is leveraging a third-party service to do a custom thing.
Yep.
We're eventually going to learn our lesson. And if I'm ever at a con, if we're ever out with people that ever see this and want me to go on a 40-minute diatribe in a bar over a pint, then we can talk about why general services to solve custom problems never work.
Yep.
We can just talk about it forever, as long as you want.
As long as you want. Because that's something we've found is that, when you're building a SaaS platform, you have to, a lot of times, build it for, not the lowest common denominator, but you have to generalize to a lot of extent. And the problem with that is that
special cases don't get served properly.
Exactly.
I'll give you an example with Azure. So Azure has video, media, and packaging and delivery, and you can put DRM on it. And we don't really do that, but you can package up assets and things and use this nice little pipeline, and that's really great if you're. I'll even give an example, say you're the Colbert Report, right? I'm not saying they use Azure, but they release a few video clips every day, of a show, and then they're up and out, and a lot of people may watch them. But see, that's not what we do here at GameWisp. But we may be potentially releasing thousands of videos a day,
right?
And Azure's encoding pipeline was just nope, nope, I'm not handling that kind of volume. And so the issue we got into is it was really unpredictable. It was difficult to gauge how long things were going to take.
And very expensive.
Very expensive. We were interacting with it in PHP, and the PHP library was junk. Truly, it's junk compared to the C# API they have, which makes sense, or the C# SDK, which makes sense. But we just, we came up against it, and we couldn't get off it. We just kept smacking against the wall with Azure, and it wasn't working for us. And that's the kind of thing I think, you can read the docs, you can look around, you can spend a lot of time figuring out the solution's right for you, but some of those things you just don't discover until you try it.
Right. And you don't try it until you try it at scale.
Yeah, yeah. Because, Azure's not going to, in their documentation for media services, isn't going to tell you, are you building a custom video platform where users can upload stuff? Well, this might not work for you. It's just, they're selling you a product, right? And so, anyway, we had to punt on that and basically ended up building our own video encoding, streaming, packaging, and delivery infrastructure totally from scratch.
Right.
So it's fully scalable. It's fully scalable. It's performant. There will be hiccups. There will be kinks, but it is way more predictable, way more performant, and way more stable than what we were getting with Azure Media Services.
Right.
And I'm not using this to lob a complaint against Azure Media Services. I'm sure their product's great in the general, but for a specific case, wasn't cutting the mustard.
Right, and that's the, even their documentation is all about how do you get this to work to upload and encode one video or a couple of videos or whatever. And Eli's been talking about this for a couple minutes, but the documentation to get it to work for what we needed was lacking as well.
Yeah. It's just everything was a fight.
Right,
everything.
and that's, I think, unfortunate, but also part of doing a startup. If you're not solving hard problems that are difficult to solve, then
and replicate,
then you're not going to live as a startup.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lesson we've learned several times is how do you use infrastructure that's out there to build something, that's more complicated than it maybe was intended to support. And I think the other thing too that I'll mention real fast is that the control factor is such a huge thing, and maybe that's just my own problem, but it's the fact that you can't, with some of these services, control every little detail of it is
it's frustrating when you're doing something very custom and specialized.
Right.
It's frustrating, and
I
don't want to spend a lot of time. The one thing I don't want people to take away from this, if you're watching this and want to do video on the internet, don't think Azure Media Services isn't the solution for you. It just wasn't the solution for us. Now, with all that being said, we rebuilt all this stuff, and here's the problem we hit. So the problem we hit is we would encode stuff with our own pipeline, but we would still deliver it through Azure because while the encoding and kind of the encoding process around video wasn't working for us, the delivery process of video is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
And scales really well. And so we wanted to leverage that. And so we were basically shoehorning a custom encoding and uploading and delivery setup, or not delivery, everything but delivery, inside of Azure storage, and then tricking Azure Media Services into thinking it was media. And then it would deliver it because it was oh, okay, here's media. And so it's a little strange, but it works.
Yeah,
so,
and they, this is not out of the ordinary. They have docs about how to like do this,
do your own encoding and deliver it with their stuff. Yeah, basically.
Yeah,
and so
it's still
it's challenging.
Yeah.
And so anyway, we got it to work, but we noticed that everything we were encoding, like it would come through Azure and there'd be no audio.
Yeah.
And so we switched all this out and we lost all this audio. And so people would like upload a video and it would encode just fine in multiple resolutions, and then you can come watch it and the video would look okay and then no audio.
Yeah.
And we would then go, oh, okay, what's the problem? And so we download the video stuff that was encoded from Azure and play it locally on our own browser or whatever. It would have audio.
Yeah.
And so it's like, what's going on? And so we, Michael really like dug very, very deeply into not only Azure and the way it delivers media, but the way we encoded media, the way we were packaging that media, and everything we were doing there. So the end result was like, it was really stupid. The solution was really dumb. I won't get into it. But we solved it. But through solving it, we also like refactored a bunch of things in our encoding pipeline that we didn't realize were wrong that we made much better. So it was an overall benefit to solve what ended up being a really stupid problem. But so we did that. That's the big problem we solved. And so now, when you upload video, I say big problem. It was like a 2-day problem. But when you upload video and get it encoded, and it all works. It's great.
Yeah, it's really nice. And the interesting thing is that like Eli said and mentioned, unfortunate that we had to go through all those details and to fix all that, but fortunate that we had the ability to actually like revamp and sort of like update our encoding pipeline and sort of like fix a few things that were going to be bugs eventually.
Yeah,
we just hadn't hit them yet, and so this sort of like enabled us to address that before it affected any sort of user experience. So that's really great.
Yeah,
and I think that's been kind of the story of the last week or so. Has been get content creators in there, get ourselves in there some more, and start like figuring out, hey, this is a problem. These are bugs, and then now we're getting to the point where we're about to add more people. So it's really exciting. That's like should be today, I think. Yeah.
We're going to do just a lot of internal testing this morning and afternoon, and then it's probably going to be today.
Yeah.
Unless we hit something that we didn't anticipate ourselves, which is fine.
Yeah,
it happens.
which happens.
Yeah, it happens. And so that was the big problem solved. Now the two big features. The first one I've talked about several times, and that's chat. You guys know all about that. Know all about channel chat if you're keeping score at home. It's working really well. Bob Foster wants to know how close to the end of the game we are. Fairly. I don't think. I mean, we're only going to play for about 8 to 10 more minutes, and so you're probably going to see the end of this fight. But I don't think you're going to get in-game cinematic. I just can't remember. If we get in-game cinematic, you just disconnect.
That's right.
Unless you don't mind it getting spoiled for you.
Nice shot, Rocket Automaton.
And so we the big feature we had is channel chat, which works
awesome.
Yeah, it's great. Like I've mentioned it before, Marissa did some great work on that, and it's really good. We've been using it a little bit internally. It's working fine. We're still going to use it a little bit more internally today and see if there's more bugs. And that's going to be great. And so I think what I thought would be a feature that we wouldn't see until after we'd finished testing the encoding stuff with creators. I think we're just going to have it like today.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. So that's more stuff to kind of have people mess with and experiment with. The other big feature that I cooked up overnight, we talked about this idea. Startup Land. We talked about this idea of something called a showcase. We're calling it a showcase, and basically what it is, if you're a user on the site, so not necessarily like a creator, even though as a creator you're also a user, but as just a regular person, like anybody that uses our site, you can go look at episodes on the site. You can look at series on the site. You can look at channels on the site, and you actually have the ability to showcase these things. And what that means is, you can click a showcase button on the various pages where these things live, and then what you can do is write a little title and a blurb. Like I think the limits are like 140 characters on the title, and I'll say less than 1,000 characters on the blurb, which we can change.
Right.
Whatever. I just set some numbers to see what happened. And as a user, you can write this stuff, and then you can showcase it. And what happens is like it appears on your own profile. So if somebody's looking at your profile, like not only do they see the things in this like button sense, like, oh, here's something that I liked. What you're actually doing is you're kind of telling a person, I liked this. Here's why it's good.
Yeah.
And so in my mind, it's better than a comment where you leave a comment on a video and somebody's already discovered that video and they've watched it for themselves, and then they read a comment. It's like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
And it's also better than a simple like up and down like button, because it's like it's a like with context, right? So like you get to express your opinion, and you can also showcase things you hate if you want, right? And have, but it's the ability for you as a user to be more than a number, to be more than a comment and more than just a number in a stat for a like or a sub or something, whatever YouTube has. Like you can have an opinion, you can express it succinctly, and people can go, oh yeah, that's cool, I'm gonna go check this out. And it gives our users a chance to kind of be heard in a way that they can't really be heard elsewhere.
Exactly.
And so, the cool thing about that is so you can showcase this stuff, and you can showcase channel series or episodes, and they appear on your page. But what we're also going to do as a company is, we're going to look through things that are showcased, and, the best ones we're going to put on the main page every day, and we're going to cycle out showcases that our users actually write. Yeah. And so it's almost like a little review. It's like a little Amazon review of, somebody's content or an episode or anything. And then you can just, people can check that out on the main page and navigate and go to stuff that you like. And we'll also, for the sake of creators for channels and series and episodes, be able to keep account of how many times something's been showcased. So a creator can know more than just, somebody thought enough about this to click a single button. It's like, wow, 100 or 1,000 or 10,000 people said, like this enough to write something and say, oh, this is really good and here's why, or they hate it enough to say I hate something. So I think that's a really cool feature. We're going to try it. It's an experiment, like all things we're doing. But it gives our users something more to do than just consume content on the site. Yeah. There's meaning.
Exactly.
We're at the end. So, Bob Foster, you may want to avert your eyes. Yeah. I'm going to be quiet now while you watch the ending.
That sounds good.
Or parts of the ending.
Mm-hmm. I've sent mighty armies to stop you. I've rained fire on you from above. I did all of that to keep you from her, when all I needed was to tell her the truth. Ask him, child. Ask him what.
Oh, man.
Ask DeWitt.
This part.
Ask him. Ask the false shepherd. Tell her. Tell her, false shepherd. Tell her the truth. Tell her. Tell her about her finger.
Intervene.
I'm going to intervene.
This is rough.
Was it worth it? Huh? You get what you wanted? Tell me! Tell me! It is finished. Nothing is finished. You locked her up for her whole life. You cut off her finger and you put it on me. Stop it!
So you're kind of a jerk.
Oh my gosh.
You tell me, what did he mean about my finger?
I don't know. I just assumed you were born with that. I don't know.
Oh man.
Paradox time.
I swear to you, I have no idea what he was talking about.
You do. You just can't remember it.
No. I'll prove it to you. We'll destroy the siphon. The answer's behind one of your doors. You just have to open it.
Destroy the siphon? It's the entire tower, Booker. How are we gonna do that?
Oh my gosh.
I'll think of something on the way.
So
you guys are just going to take a second to come to terms with this? Like,
yeah, like.
So we can't talk about it. We'll spoiler it for Bob
right.
Foster.
That's so true. La 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 la. We're not going to talk about it.
Yeah, that's all the Bob Foster's saying in chat right now. La 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 la. Okay, we're so
we're gonna put a spoiler alert.
Well,
on this.
okay. Here's what we're gonna do. You walk away from this scene.
Uh-huh.
Just don't look back on it. And when we get far enough away, I'm gonna tell the Bob Foster that it's okay to switch his tabs back. So much like the first BioShock, there's a huge plot point like in the second third of the game or something.
Yeah.
Okie doke. So I think you're good to go back.
That's right,
Mr. Foster. You can
That's
switch
right.
back your tabs and have a fun, happy time. Okay.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So, and I don't know. You probably, man, you're so close to the end, but you don't want to beat it today because we're at like 20 minutes. We got work to do.
Yeah, and who knows if we're gonna beat it on this. Maybe we should switch to another game.
Yeah, beat it off screen.
That's right. Maybe
Yeah,
so.
I don't know if that ruins it for people, but yeah. So you did just like have an enormous spoiler. So if
That's
anybody's
true.
watching this, they're sorely disappointed.
That's right.
Okay, so that's what else is happening? Anything? What are we doing today?
I think we're just doing final bug passes, and then we're gonna.
Yeah, I gotta
get it
finish
out
up.
to
I
people.
gotta finish up the showcase thing, but it's gonna be easy. There's some little odds and ends there. Okay, so that's
Cool.
it, guys. That's it for morning coffee. You saw a huge plot point. Sorry if we broke your hearts. And if you're a creator and you're interested, I think today's going to be the day. So if you want to try some stuff out, like I said before, it doesn't matter what size your channel is. Just email us at info@GameWisp.com, info@GameWisp.com with an email or a link to your YouTube channel.
That's
and
right.
we'll check it out. And if we see that you're updating regularly and interacting regularly, we'll drop you a line.
Sounds good. Enjoy. Give us a shout, and we'll catch you on Monday.
Yep. Have a good weekend, guys.
Peace.